You are not just another hustling salesperson. You are the expert, the resource, the valuable partner for your clients. And how you grow your business should reflect how your clients see you. Welcome to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. We generate referrals without asking, build positive client experiences, and help you take control of your business. Here's your charmingly sarcastic host, Stacey Brown Randall.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 170 of the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Brown Randall. All right, so this is a 10th episode, and in every 10th episode, we do a question and answer format. Well, we've been a little delayed from answering your questions when it comes to referrals and other topics, because the last Q&A episode was episode 160, and that was a Q&A episode, but it was all about the client experience because we had done about a 15-part episode series on being referable, which all starts, of course, from having that sticky client experience. And then prior to that, episode 150, well, it was hitting my 150th episode. And so we did a celebration and I did some lessons learned from starting a podcast. Because if you've ever started a podcast or really anything in life where you actually had to put time and energy into it every single week, well, you know, doing something then for 150 weeks, it's a pretty big darn deal. So we are back though with this episode 170, where I am taking the questions that you guys email to me or you submit in our Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. That is our free community. So anyone can join Referrals Without Asking. And of course, in there, you get to ask me questions. And of course, I do more teachings and we do challenges. We just wrapped up a 4-day challenge. Sometimes I just go live and I do teachings. We post the latest episode of the podcast and we have conversations and ask questions and all kinds of good stuff. So you should definitely be in that group. We are well over 2,000 business owners who are in that group. And it's so fun to see you guys engage. So that's where I go to pull questions for every 10th episode, in addition to the ones that you guys email me. And I always give preference to the questions you guys email me. And then, of course, we look at the questions that have been submitted in the group. And so I've got 2 questions we're going to go over today, and I'm very excited about them. The first one comes from Amelia. I actually don't know where Amelia is located because it didn't say in her email, but that's okay. So the first question is from Amelia. And Amelia had emailed me. She's like, I got a quick question. Do you have an episode that walks people through how to educate their network about how you send a letter to your network about your business? All right, so her question is do you have an episode that kind of would show me how to write a letter that I could send out to my network about promoting my business from the perspective of being able to generate referrals from it? And for those of you who are longtime listeners of the podcast, or you've been inoculated by what I teach and my philosophy, or of course you are a part of the GBR or Sticky Client Experience programs, you know my answer already was no. So what I had let Amelia know, and then I said I would explain in more detail here in the podcast, is to really understand why I don't have an episode and I don't teach anything regarding sending a letter to your network to educate them on what you're doing in hopes of generating referrals. So I want to break down the thought process behind this so you guys can understand, right? What I told Amelia was, I don't think those letters are effective because it is pushing information about your business on people who haven't asked for it if the goal is to generate referrals from it. So let me break this down and kind of walk you through 2 different thought processes here. So a lot of people come to me and they will ask me, how do I train my clients? How do I train my centers of influence? How do I train my contacts who to refer me and how to refer me and who's the best person, the best type of clients to refer me? And I will be honest with you, I cringe at the word train because I'm like, your referral sources or your future potential referral sources are not dogs. We do not train them. And so as you can imagine, when people come to me and ask for that information, I'm always like, that's not how it works. And of course, as you guys know, we have episodes on the podcast that talk about identifying the right people to refer you and then starting to look at the cultivation process. So the identification first, cultivation second. And it is actually the second layer that I teach of your 6 layers to your referral strategy. So if you want to go listen about, hey, if I want to identify and then start to cultivate people to be referral sources for me, how do you do that? I would tell you to go back and listen to episode 141 and 142. 141 is where I'm breaking down layer number 2 of the 6 layers of your referral strategy. And it is the one specific to potential referral sources, like finding the right people out there to refer you, and then the start of the understanding of the cultivation. Of course, how you do all that and exactly what you say and exactly what you do and exactly what the process looks like, of course, that is something I teach within the Growth by Referrals program. It's a standalone training that you get when you join the Growth by Referrals program. It's called Referring Machines. That's the short title. The long title is How to Turn Clients and Contacts into Referring Machines. So that's a bonus training you get when you join GBR. Of course, you can also invest in that separately as well. And that's the how you do it all. But I give a really good overview of understanding what it looks like in episode 141. And then I interview somebody who went through the Referring Machines training. And she, as a business owner, talks about how she implemented it and kind of what that looked like. And then there, of course, the results that she had from it, which was awesome. And that's in episode 142. So that's why I recommend you listen to both of those together. So if your ultimate goal is to reach out to people, to tell them about your business so that they will start referring people to you, I'm going to tell you that the best way to do that is to pick the right people and then invest some time in developing relationships with them and cultivating relationships with them. And then, of course, doing the right things and using the right language, referral seeds, to get them to start referring you, right? Or to put them into a place, right, where they're able to refer you. What I would never tell you to do is send a letter out to people, hoping that that's going to be the thing that's going to get them to refer people to you. Okay, there's my official stance. But there's another piece to this. And in honoring Amelia, I want to be able to address this as well that I couldn't address in the email because, to be honest, I think sometimes things are lost in context when they're just in writing in an email. So I wanted to address this on the podcast. And that is, when you are starting a new business, or when you have left your corporate job and you're starting a new business, or you have changed the type of client that you're now working with, or you're now offering a new product or service offering, right? When you're doing something new in your business, whether it's starting a new business, a new product, a new service that you're offering, it's okay to let your network and your clients know that you're doing that. Just lower your expectations on what in the world it's going to produce for you. Because remember, if I have to see an advertisement 7 to 12 times before I remember it or even consider taking action on it because I need whatever the advertisement is selling me, one letter isn't going to do it either. But I do believe that there is value when you change directions of your business, start a new business, when you offer something new in your business, to communicate that out to your clients, maybe your prospects, maybe your network at large. Lower your expectations on what is actually going to be produced from that letter, and do not assume it's ever going to send you any referrals, because people refer you because of trust, not because you sent one letter telling them that you now have changed your service offerings, or you're now offering this new service or product, or you've started a business. But Amelia, if you want to write a letter to let everybody know that you have started a business, or that you are now offering this piece, this new thing within your business, those are moments that you can educate your network, and they will understand that that's what you're doing. Sending a letter, though, every 3 months to your network to tell them about your business and basically saying the same thing over and over again is not a strategy I would ever recommend. In fact, I think you'll waste your time and money. But there are moments and times when letting people know that you're doing something different is okay to communicate that. And whether it's in a letter or an email or however you want to do that, that is fine. It's also okay to reach out to people that you're connected to just kind of remind them what you're up to, right? But how you do that and when you do that and the format you do that in, there's got to be some thought behind it. And it all starts from the ultimate objective. I've talked about this part before on the podcast, and the episode isn't coming to mind, so I apologize. But I did talk about, like, particularly if you're starting a new business, that is the best time for 7 million cups of coffee. I mean, this may be 7 million cups of virtual coffee, so you're probably going to get very tired of Zoom very, very fast. But that's how I started both of my businesses. And it was the 7 million cups of coffee. But I was specific about who in my network did I want to know that I had started a productivity and business coaching practice? Now, this is all the way back, right? 2012, 2013, whatever it was, 2013. That I had started a productivity and business coaching practice, but it was who in my network did I want to know that I was doing that? And then it was how many people could I take and have a conversation with them about it? I didn't mail out a letter. I do not think those are valuable in that way, but that's not saying you can't do it and it won't work for you. I wanted to make connections with people. And that's actually how I got my first 3 clients, right? I mean, my first 3 coaching clients came from the first 3 people I took to coffee, and each of them saying, actually, I think I need you. And then the very first person who came on board in that way was actually the person who sent me my very first referral, which became my 4th client. So it's certainly possible, but it is time and energy. 7 million cups of coffee is no joke, right? Like you are sitting at Starbucks all morning long, or your local coffee shop in back-to-back meetings, or of course you're doing these virtually now. So I think the human interaction, the human connection is better. I think it feels like it takes more time, but I walked away from 4 coffee meetings with 4 paying clients that were engaging in, a multi-month coaching package with me. So again, that's food for thought to consider there. So can you do a letter that educates your network on what you're doing? Yes. Do I think there's the right times and the wrong times to do it? Yes. Do I think you should lower your expectations of what will actually happen from a letter? Yes. And do I think there's better ways to do it? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you can't. But do not do it because you are thinking that someone's going to get that letter and then refer people to you. You've got to take the time to build a relationship with them and develop trust with them before they'll ever refer someone to you, and refer them to you in the way that you want them to refer to you because they trust you and they're selling you to the person, to the prospect, before they even connect you to the prospect. That's what we want, right? But Amelia, it was an excellent question, and I'm glad I got to go a little bit deeper on it than a 1-paragraph answer to you as I gave you in my email response. Okay, so there's another question that was posted in the Facebook group, and it came from Jerry. And Jerry was saying one thing that he struggles with is how to stay top of mind with existing clients so that he can generate referrals for new clients. I think that this is one of the things that people go to early on when they start thinking about, hey, I want more referrals. I want more referrals. The easiest place to start, of course, is with people who've already referred you and work to get more referrals from them, right? That's a fundamental plan number 1, layer number 1 that we teach in the GBR program. The next place that people typically look when it comes time to start thinking about more referrals is they look to their existing client base if they have one. And in this case, Jerry does. So looking at their existing client base and deciding, hey, how do I stay top of mind with them so that they will refer me? Now, we talked about this in detail. So I'm going to assume when Jerry says existing clients, he means clients that he's already done the work for, and they're now no longer active clients, right? They're just previous clients that he has in his business. And so they're no longer active clients where he's like doing the work for them right now. The work's done, right? They're done being a quote unquote active client. They've moved into that past client phase or that previous client phase. Now, as you guys know from episode 162, I call that the alumni phase. I think calling your clients alumni clients is just better from a perspective of how you want to think about them. So, Jerry, one thing I would say is definitely go listen to episode 162 where we talk about the alumni stage and how do we maintain connection to our clients that are now alumni clients when we're not having interactions with them because we're done producing the work for them. But I think that's the next place that people go when they're thinking about generating referrals is, all right, let me get it from my clients. And then you think about, well, I've been in business 3 years or 13 years. And so I have dozens or hundreds of existing, right, previous alumni clients. And I need to be able to connect with them and stay top of mind with them so that they'll refer me or continue to refer me once they start. And I think that is a normal, natural place for people to go. And it's one I would encourage you to consider. Look at your client base. But remember what we always teach, folks. Do not expect that every client who loved you and every client who ever paid you $1 is going to refer you. So you need to get specific about looking to the 20% to 30% that you think have the best chance to refer you. And that is based on what you do, right? And how you work with your clients and who those people are. And I can't tell you who your 20% is. I mean, if I sat down and had a conversation with Jerry, I could probably very quickly help him identify who that would be. And we talk about that in the program that I have, Referring Machines, which is how we turn clients and contacts into referral sources. First step is always identification. So I would say, look at your existing or alumni clients and determine who's in the best situation or the best place to refer you. And then you want to start, after you've identified those folks, the cultivation process of what it looks like to be able to generate referrals from them. But this is not as simple like, hey, I'm going to just send you a card and you're going to remember me and then you're going to refer me. Again, somebody putting their reputation on the line to refer someone to you takes the know, like, and trust factor, but a really big, whooping dose of the trust factor within that continuum. And so you've got to make sure you've got the time and energy to invest in building those relationships. When people ask me how much time is involved in this, I always say if you have a good number of referral sources, it won't be that much time. I mean, it's not going to be minutes for the year, right? But it won't be that much time to be able to probably get more referrals from the people who are already referring you. But it will take some time to turn new people into referral sources because there's an investment of time and energy and relationship there for someone to decide to put their reputation on the line to refer someone to you. So start out with identifying who those people are and then learn the cultivation process to turn those people into referral sources, right? It's one of the other things we talked about in our final episode that we did on the podcast regarding the client experience, and that was how to receive referrals from your client experience. So we talked about that on the podcast as well, and that episode kind of goes into it. It kind of gave you a couple of things to pay attention to when you're thinking about existing clients as well. So my answer to Jerry was based on the alumni client stage, right? Like, how do we stay top of mind? His question was, how do we stay top of mind with my clients who are no longer active? They're alumni, so that they will actually refer me. And so as you're thinking through that, right, that's an important piece to kind of go through and understand what that looks like, but also recognizing we can get referrals, right, from our client experience when they're in the client experience. And that, of course, is episode 165. So that is available for you as well. Okay, so there you have it. 2 answers to 2 great questions. Thank you, Amelia and Jerry, for asking those questions and giving me the opportunity to respond. Of course, you can find the resources that were mentioned in this episode, lots of episodes we mentioned, on the show notes page at stacybrownrandall.com/170. That's 170 for this episode being episode 170. And of course, next week coming up is episode 171. And we are getting back to breaking down the final layer number 6 of your referral strategy. So I'm so excited to go through layer number 6 with you next week. Until then, my friends, take control and grow your business. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. To access all resources and links mentioned in today's show and to connect with Stacy, head over to www.stacybrownrandall.com.